So what's going on here? What do you mean about a lava blast? What's a lava blast? Go to sleep, said Kim Song. No, tell me what's going on here, asked Lily Beth again. Well, since my grandfather's day, the sky at night has been filled with charged light that's brought day to night, as far south as Mexico City. At first we thought it was the aurora borealis acting up, but this was something different. It had to do with a magnetosphere that we knew little about, and we are still trying to understand it. And it was this magnetosphere that was causing these lava blast burns, resembling electrical burns, that affect people at the cellular level. So most victims who would have survived a similar electrical burn die of this strange poisoning. This triggered a mass exodus from the northern hemisphere. Everyone in America wanted to get south of Nicaragua and escape the lava blasts and the storms, the magnetic storms that were raging here, while people in the southern hemisphere wanted to get north of Lima, Peru. So everyone was squeezing in tighter and tighter into the tropical zone of the earth as best they could. It was very orderly at first. And then as more and more people kept coming, and as politicians began to realize that these lava blasts and storms occasionally struck deep in the tropical zone as well. Not very often, but once is, how many times, and that gave the politicians an excuse to begin turning away newcomers. And so they began to blame the outsiders for bringing the lava blasts and magnetic storms with them. So they closed their borders to the new arrivals, and most of us wandered back home. Who would ever have thought that migration could be used to divide people? So then things got really ugly, and the migration stopped, and our government in Manhattan told everyone that clay could protect us from the lava blasts and prevent the poisoning. So people here began covering themselves and their homes with clay. It wasn't 100% protection because it would dry out and flake off, but it was better than nothing. And then the weavers in Nigeria, they invented a clay nylon mesh that encapsulated the clay, a material that was strong, long-lasting, and flexible, that we could make our helmets and uniforms out of, that would remain stable and protect us for years. And they shared that knowledge with the world. So today we use submarines to connect the world. The good subs from governments mostly, they are trying to rebuild the world and bring it back, and they help people. But there are also pirate subs that raid and pillage along the coast, and then they use slavers. Slavers are our own people who go deep inland and do the pirates' work for them, capturing and kidnapping people and then selling them to the pirates, who take our loved ones away from our shores in their subs, never to be seen again. You and your ship were here. You and your ship were here when it all started, and now, centuries later, you appear thinking not a day has passed. I think my mission is to get you back to your ship so all of this can end. How do you know that? Said Lilybeth. You said that my ship was pulsing and fading in and out. Why would I want to go near it? I didn't get that close to it either before I started to feel queasy as I approached it, even in my suit. So I circled around it until I found your tracks and started following them. If you return to your ship, I don't know if it'll do any good, but it's the first ray of hope I think this world has had in 200 years. Kim Song reached for a bottle of pills and took 2 out and gave them to Lily Beth. These guard against lava blast sickness and slow down the poison in your bones. Every time you get hit by a lava blast, it's a short-term protection, That's why you need to get your own clay suit soon, said Kim, because the poisoning is accumulative. What are these pills made out of? Asked Lily Beth. Concentrated garlic, said Kim. These pills will help you less and less over time. That is why we must find you a clay nylon suit. I think you should take 2 before the sickness takes over. 2 pills. Lily Beth agreed and thanked Kim and then took the 2 pills. They shared a midnight snack and then slept. Hours later, hearing something outside, Kim woke up Lily Beth. Quiet, she said. I think the slavers have found us. Then Kim moved a table and opened up a trap door in the floor, and then they both went through it, then closed it behind them. Then Kim slid a board through 2 metal braces, locking the trap door into place. Lily Beth heard noise up above them. They were tearing the place apart, cutting holes in walls, and you could hear the violence. Then there was silence. In the morning, when they were sure the coast was clear, they crawled down the tunnel and emerged in the bushes, down a ways from the hut. Kim looked around and saw no one. Then they ran towards the ridge. Lily Beth had descended the day before. Kim could see that Lily Beth was starting to feel queasy, so she took off her clay nylon mesh suit and gave it to Lily Beth. You're the one who needs this, said Kim Song. No, I can't, said Lily Beth. You must, said Kim Song. You're the only one who can stop this and save the world. And then as they reached the top of the ridge, Kim looked and listened, and then for a while, and then they descended the rest of the way, where they found her ship, and as they approached it, Kim felt too weak to go on. Leave me. I need to rest here. Lily Beth too felt queasy, even in the suit, but she continued on till she reached the capsule, and as she removed her glove and touched the capsule with her hand, it felt like she just got hit by a blast. And when she woke up, she was in a hospital bed. The brass was there. Her commanding officer. She saluted, and they were telling her that she was a hero and she needed to tell them what had happened. She said she didn't know what had happened. Then they told her that a fault in the space station had been detected, causing an explosion as she approached it. And somehow she had guided her heavily damaged ship back to Earth for a crash landing in the middle of Manhattan and lived with no casualties on the ground. Lily Beth knew none of this was true. As they said, you'll get a medal for this. Oh, you're so wonderful. They were all smiles. Lily Beth did not believe them for a second, but smiled back and thanked them. And as the brass walked away, they wondered how she had survived their test of the LAVABLAST weapon that they had secretly used Lily Beth's resupply run to the space station, to a temporarily empty space station, to carry out a test of the LAVABLAST weapon. But it had missed her capsule, and it had struck the space station instead. Instead of the supplies for the space station that her ship was supposed to be carrying, there was a giant metal disc in the ship's hold that was supposed to attract the lava blast. But they had no idea why the test had failed. Lily Beth knew that she wasn't supposed to come back, and her ship had been used as target practice. And she wasn't too happy about it either, just so that the military would be able to test out their new toy. She couldn't believe it. And as they left the room, they were pleased that she didn't know anything. It should have destroyed her ship, one said to the other. Why didn't it? They decided to watch Lily Beth for any signs of treachery or lava blast poisoning, something they were all becoming more familiar with as they were rubbing their hands. Lily Beth could see the brass were all rubbing their hands when they were in front of her. That was an early sign of lava blast poisoning. Lily Beth could have told them about concentrated garlic being a short-term antidote to the poisoning, but she didn't, because even though she felt bad for them, she worried that they would misuse anything she told them about the future, so she said nothing. Even though she wanted to, she couldn't, and as the brass walked away, they decided among themselves that the lava blast weapon was just too dangerous of a weapon to ever again be used here on Earth, and that more study was required before it could ever be used again anywhere. So they shelved all future experiments on this super weapon and ordered that it be sent back to Area 51 for long-term storage. That night, and for many nights after that, Lily Beth searched the night sky for signs of an aurora borealis acting up, but it never did. Maybe, just maybe, she thought, humanity has dodged a bullet. And then she thought about her friend, Kim Song, and imagined her having a beautiful life now with her family in a future without lava blasts. The end.